There are moments in film that transcend the screen. Bruce Lee versus Chuck Norris in Way of the Dragon is definitely one of them. This wasn't just a fight, it was a turning point for all action movies. When people talk about iconic movie scenes, this one always makes the list. It was raw, real, and totally unpredictable. Before this, most fight scenes felt fake. Actors moved in perfect rhythm. Punches missed by a mile, and honestly, nobody seemed to get tired. But Bruce Lee shattered that illusion. He brought authenticity and danger. You could feel the weight of every move. Audiences were glued to their seats, not just for the action, but because it felt like anything could happen. This wasn't just about cool moves, it was about philosophy, personal expression, and human struggle. These two legends made you believe that fights in movies could be just as intense and unpredictable as real life. That's why this scene didn't just entertain, it changed how every fight scene was filmed, choreographed, and experienced forever. The location for this epic showdown wasn't random. The Roman Colosseum is a symbol of ancient combat. Gladiators fought for their lives there centuries ago. By setting the fight in this arena, the film raised the stakes instantly. This was about more than just a street brawl. It was an echo of history. The Colosseum made the fight feel legendary. The stone arches, the empty stands, the harsh sunlight, all of it added to the drama. This wasn't just some back alley or a shiny dojo. It was a place where only the strongest survived. That energy seeped into every movement, every stare down between Bruce and Chuck. The silence made things even more intense. No screaming crowds, no music blaring, just two martial artists, the wind and the dust. You could hear every breath, every footstep. The tension was almost unbearable. This setting wasn't just cinematic, it was symbolic. Two modern warriors, battling in the heart of ancient combat, bringing new meaning to what a fight scene could be. Before Way of the Dragon, fight scenes followed a script. Every block, punch, and kick was carefully timed. Actors traded blows like dancers, always in sync, rarely improvising. This choreography looked cool, but it was predictable. Audiences knew nobody was really getting hurt. Bruce Lee saw the problem. He wanted to break the mold. He believed real fights are messy, intense, and full of surprises. In the old method, fighters would take turns, almost like they were sparring for a tournament instead of fighting for survival. There was no real risk. Lee's approach was the opposite. He wanted every move to mean something. No wasted energy. No flashy spins just for the camera. If a punch landed, you felt it. If a fighter made a mistake, it showed. This brought stakes and tension back to fight scenes. That shift changed everything. Suddenly, action movies weren't just about style. They were about substance. Every fight could tell a story and leave you breathless. Chuck Norris came from a traditional karate background. His style was structured and disciplined. He moved with purpose, using strong stances and powerful, direct strikes. You could see the years of training in every punch he threw. Bruce Lee, on the other hand, was a wild card. He combined many techniques, always adapting, always flowing. His stance was loose, ready for anything. Instead of sticking to one style, he borrowed from many. This made his movements unpredictable and deadly. Watching these two clash was electric. Norris tried to control the fight, using what he knew best. Lee kept breaking patterns, changing angles, and using speed. The contrast was clear. It wasn't just East versus West, or karate versus kung fu. It was tradition versus innovation. This dynamic forced both men to push themselves. It wasn't about who could throw the best kick. It was about who could adapt and survive. That tension made every second unforgettable. Bruce Lee didn't just fight, he adapted. His philosophy, Jeet Kune was all about using what works and discarding what doesn't. He studied many martial arts, but he didn't limit himself to just one. This let him respond to anything in real time. In the fight with Chuck Norris, Lee's adaptability really shines. He switches stances. He uses his legs, his hands, even his environment. When Norris tries a classic move, Lee counters with something unexpected. It's almost like watching water find its way through cracks, always moving, never stopping. This kind of fighting, honestly, requires total focus. You have to read your opponent, react instantly, and never get stuck in a routine. That's what made Lee so dangerous. He was never where you expected him to be. Audiences could see the difference. This wasn't just acting. It was a master showing what true martial arts meant. It made the fight scene feel alive, dangerous, and more real than anything that had come before. One of the most powerful things about this fight is the realism. Both fighters get tired. You see them breathing hard, sweating, slowing down. There's no magic recovery between rounds. Every hit leaves a mark. Every mistake has a consequence. This wasn't common in movies before. Usually heroes seemed invincible. They'd fight for minutes without breaking a sweat. Bruce Lee changed that. He showed the real toll of combat, how it wears you down, tests your will, and forces you to dig deeper. When Norris lands a punch, Lee staggers. When Lee kicks, you see the pain on Norris's face. These aren't just moves for show, they matter. The fight becomes a story of endurance as much as skill. That's what made audiences believe. They could relate to the exhaustion, the struggle, the fight to keep going when your body wants to quit. It made the scene more human and a lot more gripping. The influence of this fight reached far beyond its time. Today's MMA looks a lot like what Bruce Lee was doing. Fighters borrow from many styles. They adapt, improvise, and focus on what works. The days of my style is better are gone, thanks in part to Lee's example. Modern action films also owe a debt to this scene. Directors now aim for realism. They show fighters getting tired, getting hurt, and pulling off moves that actually work in real life. Gone are the days of endless, bloodless brawls. Every punch counts. You can see Bruce Lee's fingerprints on everything, from John Wick to The Raid. Even the way fighters move, the angles they choose, and the way they finish a fight all echo what Lee started. His fight with Norris wasn't just a movie moment, it was a blueprint for the future of fighting on screen and in the real world. Audiences didn't just watch this scene, they felt it. The realism pulled people in. They could see themselves in the struggle. They knew what it was like to get tired, to make mistakes, to fight for something that mattered. That connection is powerful. It's what makes great cinema. You're not just cheering for a hero, you're living the fight with them. Bruce Lee's commitment to truth made every punch matter, every moment count. This kind of realism changed how people viewed action heroes. They didn't have to be perfect. They just had to be real. That honesty made the victory sweeter and the losses hit harder. It set a new expectation. Now, audiences demand more. They want to see the sweat, the struggle, and the real consequences, all because Bruce Lee raised the bar. Bruce Lee's fight with Chuck Norris set a new standard for action. It wasn't about looking cool, it was about being real. Every move had meaning, every moment had risk. The fight told a story, not just with words, but with sweat and pain. This scene inspired a generation of filmmakers, fighters, and fans. The line between movie fights and real fights got thinner. People wanted authenticity, not just entertainment. Lee's philosophy spread beyond martial arts. It became a blueprint for how to tackle any challenge, be adaptable, be honest, and never stop evolving. Now, we see his influence everywhere. From the UFC octagon to blockbuster movies, the lessons from that one fight echo on. Realism, unpredictability, and heart are now the gold standard. That's why Bruce Lee versus Chuck Norris didn't just change fight scenes. It changed cinema. And maybe in some ways, it changed us all.